Today's, say, like the topic, what we are covering is infinite efficiency engineering agile retail operations. At the pace where we are growing, the retail industry is phenomenon, and as well as the stores are going to be digital first. Your omni-channel is growing very fast. But at the back end, there are some issues which are holding them back. Most of the retailers are facing some issues. So we have Mr. Mayank Gupta from Stovekraft, Mr. Lakhbir from Akela, and Mr. Vikas from Style Bazaar. They are industry leaders who will share their views, their experiences.
Well, we also have Mr. Karthik Shankar, country head at Campus Shoes, join in. So can we give a round of applause for him as well? Thank you, sir. Over to you.
No problem. So the biggest challenge, say like today we were discussing earlier, say like the most of the 95% retailers are challenging, like they are having the fragmented data, silos data, or those kind of the problems are there. And these are the people who are in the 5%, how they have achieved in the omni-channel. Say like I would like to start with Mr. Mayank Gupta. What are the biggest challenge retailers face due to the silos data?
So, sir, it's been, almost 2 decades for me in retail. One thing, across categories, I've worked with different organizations. One thing that I have clearly seen in across organization is agility will not come with speed or with software only. It will come when all 3 things, process, platform, and people, come together and align the priorities. The bigger problem that I see today is the priority of people is not the priority of the management. When I say people, is the people who are working at store. Each of the person who is in the retail hierarchy should have a similar priority. Or we understand their priorities first, and then we align our platform and process so that everybody gains from it. That is one. Second, a lot of times we are looking at the KPIs which are output KPIs. And then we are doing a postmortem at the end of the month or end of the quarter, end of the year, why we have not achieved the KPI. So rather than tracking the output KPIs, which are technically in silos for different softwares or products that we use, we should start seeing outcome or input KPIs. What was the input that was desired to go inside the system or inside the process to bring that particular output? If we start analyzing the input or the outcome KPIs, output KPI will definitely fall in place. And coming to the core question which Swarandeep ji has asked as to why silos, the silos is, I think today if everybody would agree with me, whether it is Killer, whether it is Campus, if we hire a new store manager or if we hire a new area manager today, on day 0 we give him 5 login and passwords. One for the ERP, one for the operations management tool, one for the expense management tool, one for maybe the camera tool. And then he is lost in which app he is supposed to log in at what time and do what particular process. If we can streamline that, I think on day 0, 50% of efficiency will bring in from there.
Perfect. So like we have seen the fragmentation can slow down the decisions, as you have said. Say like Mr. Vikas, would you like say like we have seen you have n number of categories, n number of SKUs. How do you manage this one?
So as you know, we are in value fashion chain, so we have, as you told, the inventory management is definitely a idea for us as of now, right? And the managing the entire supply chain and then inventory and then display it to the floor, the store front, okay? That is actually a challenge which we have today, and especially for the value retailer, where actually we are emerging on the systems front, right? We are working on a planning tool, right, where the inventory to the store actually will be pushed based on the store demand, not based on the gut feel, right? Yeah. So I think that's the need of the hour, right? Because today most of especially in the value retailer, the inventory to the floor, it goes based on the gut feel initially, right? And then when the seasons come or when festive season and all, we always actually try to push the maximum inventory to the floor so that it will actually turn to the sales, right? So we are actually managing with our planning tool where the inventory to the store will be pushed based on the store demand, based on the sales ratio. Yeah. So
Great.
that's how we are managing it.
Lakhbir ji, what's your approach on unifying data across functions and how far along are you in that journey?
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I strongly agree with what Mayank said that it is very difficult nowadays to align everybody in one line, specifically when you're working on so much riders, so much add-ons. Now, answering to your one, with us, the interesting part is that we are a manufacturer, we are a retailer, we are a trader, we are a distribution format. So with us, aligning every format, because every format has its own challenges, own dynamics, own priority time. Trade asks for early deliveries, retail asks for OTIF, on-time deliveries, departmental store they work on a different format. But yes, with the help of current ERPs, we are in position to control it at its best. But yes, the technologies like ARS, the demand forecasting, your sell-through analysis is actually helping the one format of retail vertical. Then we got recently, in the last season, we introduced, because we are fashion, from the fashion industry, we change our SKUs, twice in a year. So around 1200 SKUs are for 6 months. We are not a Clinic Plus shampoo or Dabur Chyawanprash, which is staying long with you for, say, donkey years. So yes, because the core contribution is on a lower side. It's in a single digit contribution. But keeping that fashion element, we introduced ARS model, which is for trade, which is the new in the industry. Somebody is applying auto replenishment system for distribution. Thanks to the current ERP, where at regular interval on every fortnight basis, we are filling those gaps. Monitoring the action on the ground, what is happening at a retail counter. Every day, by default, you got a BI reports, you got the data in hand that this color, this size, this fit has performed well in which region. So this helps you in aligning this demand forecasting. But yes, one solution which is still pending is what, again, I will say what Mayank has said, that you got CRM, you got ARS, you got KPI, you got footfall count. So there's so many tools available to an area manager, and taking them into one thread is, yes, it's something which industry need to answer in total. Thank you.
Perfect. Mr. Karthik, you have a totally different industry, say like footwear and apparel, both from the fashion industry, but footwear totally works in a different way. They're handling the inventory, it is again a difficult task in the footwear. Again, I'll ask you the same question. Say, what kind of the data silos gives the problem to the organization?
Well, it's a very interesting and a difficult question to answer because we're all still grappling with finding the right solution for it. Footwear, yeah, might be a little different from apparel, but the challenge essentially is still the same. Data silos exist because they've been created in such a way. Organizations structure them in such a way. And I'm going slightly off track and digressing from the business point of view to the human psychology point of view. I think a lot of us leaders, and I include myself in that list, we get very insecure with data, with sharing of data. But more importantly, I think the challenge that I see is not access or availability of data and information. It's what we do with it. And that capability building, I feel as an industry, we are possibly a little behind a lot of other industries, let's say FMCG or the paints industry, which have rigorous systems to drive inventory management, to demand planning, to all of it. So I think the first step we need to do is build capability, and then structure will follow that strategy.
Great. So let's talk about, say that like we should hit the bottom line, that is inventory. If your inventory is right, then you are profitable. If your inventory is not right, then you can't make profitable. And moreover, we have seen a lot of places where your fast-moving products, you are understocked or moving out of stock, and a lot of places what the slow-moving products still on your shelves, right? So you have overstock, that gives you the problem with the block capex, right? And when you are understocked and fast-moving products are not available on the shelf, so then you are losing the sales. So I'll start again with the Mayank. Say, what are the upstream issues that typically lead to these inventory misses, overstocking or stockouts?
So I would maybe, start with what Vikasji also said. Currently, a lot of time when a new store starts, we start with the gut. We start pushing everything and, so that we have some base to analyze on what is selling, what is not selling, so that next time onwards you have some base data. That is one problem. So the inventory overall ecosystem of ARS has to move from push to pull. The store must ask for it. It is not the human being or the manager who is standing at the store, but the ecosystem of the store. So what we used to do in my couple of organizations, the ecosystem that we created, or at Pigeon also what we have created is, whenever we sign a new store or whenever we identify a new store, we identify which is a similar store with similar parameters of geo, which is location parameters, and the affinity parameter of that particular store, which are the operational stores of that kind. And then we start analyzing what is selling in those type of stores and start the first replenishment from that. So you have a base to start with, and then obviously you will learn. The second problem what you talked about is, news not getting to these stores or piling up of non-selling inventory. The bigger reason that I understand for that is the planning process while buying the inventory or while manufacturing is skewed for a lot of organizations. For us also, a lot of times, we either buy because we are bound by the MOQ if we are trading the inventory. We either manufacture more because we have more raw material for a particular inventory and we don't want to start another shift after 10 days. We say, okay, we are starting a shift. We will finish the lot and make it. And once we have made it, nobody wants to keep the inventory lying in the warehouse. Then you are bound to push it to your distributor or to your EBOs. That is when the piling up starts happening. So I think first we have to correct the planning process, whether we are buying the raw material, whether we are buying the finished good or traded goods. वो एक बार ठीक करके, and then is the process of the pull. That is the store asking for what I want to sell. In between, what I feel is a lot of organizations or retailers are now using geo-intelligence for signing of the properties. But nobody is using geo-intelligence for finalizing what inventory I want to buy for which region. So if I talk about cookware or kitchen as a category, the cooking needs or the cooking style across India is very different. Inner lid pressure cooker sells in north, but south it is only outer lid. I'm just giving a very simple example. Or an appa chetty is sold in Kerala, but is not sold in Karnataka at all. So all these things, the regional preferences has to be taken into consideration with the kind of population which is addressable market size for each and every product before we even finalize or plan a product. I think once we plan the buying right, 50% of the problem will be solved, and then is obviously the tools or the ERPs or the dashboards which can help us in ascertaining which SKU or which particular category is not moving out or not selling as per the required run rate, so that you start taking action before it piles up.
I will add what Mayank said very interestingly. See, with us, with the fashion industry, I think it is the mix of guts and statistics both.
That was my going
Everywhere.
Then you complete.
Is it a gut instinct or it is a system driven?
I think it's a blend of both because at PD stage, at product development stage, designer sees कि 2 साल बाद क्या होने वाला है, sales guy see कि कल क्या हुआ था. तो he will share statistical data, designer will see नहीं pink suit बिकेगा, हम बोल रहे हैं कल तो blue बिका था. So I think it is both, and with a brand like us who are, mainly into fast fashion, it's a sandwich between statistical data and the future forecast. Now, I think he rightly said the command from push to pull is required, but in our case, it is more about you see that which is going to loose fit denims are going to come, boot cut denims are going to come, oversized shirts will come, resort lapel shirts are going to be in trend. With us, customer is not going and asking for those things. It is the brand who is offering that. And answering your point, I think as a fashion brand, we see the stock, divide stock into two parts, quantitative stock and qualitative stock. How much stock is lying on the floor is one discussion. How much is sellable in that particular region, in that state, in that category, in that price point is the second part. I think भेजते वक्त तो guts होते हैं, but जब वो data analyze होता है, तो then you will come to know कि okay, Bihar is not liking resort collar shirt the way Delhi is liking, or the loose fit for him. Which state is going to accept the fashion? So then, of course, statistical data comes up. कि okay, this much was the RTV, this much was the fresh sell-through. So I think it is blend of both, gut and statistical. And because you are in fashion, you can't afford to offer only staples all the time to be safe and secure and studying only the statistical data. I think it is the brand, it is the appetite, it is the risk capacity what brand has to take. But yes, वो आपने बड़ी अच्छी बात कही कि स्टॉक सब्जी में नमक के बराबर होता है. अगर कम होगा तब भी खराब, अगर ज़्यादा होगा तब भी खराब. तो कंपनियां बनती भी स्टॉक से ही हैं, कंपनियां डूबती भी स्टॉक से ही हैं. सो इट्स अ वेरी वेरी sharp observation you have to keep on your inventory, be it at your warehouse, distributor, your master franchisee, your store level, across.
I will just add, sorry, Lakhbir, I think, stock kam hone ka solution hai. We have a lot of solutions when they talk about endless aisle, we talk about omni-channel. But there is no solution when it comes to overstocking at a store. And like he said, the trends changes. Abhi, for example, from slim fit, the market is moving to maybe bell bottom or loose fit. So once we know that yes, the market is going to shift after 3 months, 6 months, that is the time I think we should, rather than the gut or rather than being very assertive about that, yes, I ordered this stock, we will not do anything about it. We should start taking corrective action, whether we want to liquidate it, whether we want to bundle it with something, or whether we want to do anything about it. But before the new fashion trend arises, we should be ending the current lot. And like he said, the sandwich between the sales and the product team, that will always happen, because product team will always say this is going to be the future, I know, and sales guy will always know I am doing this for 20 years, I know what to order. And ultimately product will go down because they want the product to sell.
Of course, it's finally you are killing the garment on the shelf by eating your own margins. When you're selling it at buy one get one flat 50, you're killing your product, and by eating your own margins.
Because it's the same like.
I'll just add, the problem the fast fashion industry is facing is there are tools available for planning tool, dynamic performance, so many tools are there. But most of the tools works very fantastic with core and basic product. But with when it comes to fast fashion, okay, we still actually, the industry has to find a solution to have a mature tool, how to predict the stock availability at the stores and the buying pattern also when it comes to fast fashion. Yeah.
So it means like, how do you manage this one?
Yeah. So today actually it is mix of manual and the system efforts, right? So as I told earlier, we actually today we don't have, but we are in the phase of implementation of a planning tool. where where we are going, we will be actually managing this based on the tools recommendation. But still, as I told, actually, the tools, all of these tools actually works very good when it comes to basic and core merchandises, right? When it comes to fast fashion, where actually you are changing the SKU every time, right? That time actually you still have to have a manual effort and then do the consolidation, study where the stock, where your inventory is actually moving out, where it is piled up, the pattern of the geographical area, cities and all, do consolidation. That all actually still I think we'll have to, what I feel that it still need a manual intervention.
Sorry, if I may just add to this, I think it's pretty interesting. And what Mayank and Lakhbir and Vijay, all of you all mentioned is completely true. We all face that same challenge. More so in fashion because of the large gut or predicting a trend, which is, in my opinion, an almost impossibility. However, where I think we as an industry and where brands can really come in is to build a system to know our consumers better. We actually kind of under-index this particular part. We all believe we really know them, but we don't have a institutionalized system to actually understand our consumer and keep going back to that consumer. I know I sound like a broken record, but if you were to take the biggest FMCG brands or even the smallest FMCG brands in India, they have a quarterly consumer assessment. They have, whether it's through focus groups or immersion sessions, there is a qualitative understanding of who the consumer is, or therefore what will they buy or what would they want in the future. So there is a certain degree of art, but they try and bring in a science, and therefore their challenges of understocking and overstocking is slightly lesser than, let's say, fashion or lifestyle products. So I think that's the journey that a lot of us brands are like now trying to get onto. Can we understand the consumer better? Can we touch base with them more often? And then try and, if not read their minds, but at least try and understand their behaviors. Because that would give us a more futuristic approach in terms of how do we plan an assortment, or what should be the design input into new product development for the seasons ahead. I think so there we can have a little more data coming in. Because sometimes I think we, like you mentioned, we overestimate the use of data, especially historical, on historicals. But there's a massive art element here. And I go back to my first point. So if we have a greater degree of capability in terms of reading, analyzing data, and marry that with a set of people who can predict or model on that basis, that would possibly be perfection achieved in that sense.
Great. रियल टाइम विजिबिलिटी, ये हमारे सभी लोगों के लिए एक बड़ा फ्रेज है, एंड वी ऑल लव दैट रियल टाइम विजिबिलिटी. बट मोस्ट ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, they don't have. They are still struggling with the batch processing or the syncing the data, those kind of things. Say, Mayank ji, I would like to know, say, where are you standing right now? Are you still working on the delayed data, or it's a real-time visibility to you?
So I have a very different perspective on this, and a lot of people here, might not like me. What I feel is, see, when you sign a good ERP, the dashboards come as a default, right? You get the live visibility of what is selling, what is not selling, what is your sales as of today, as of now, right? But the problem that I see is there is too much of data to see, right? We don't have a very, very clear outlook as to what are the two things or what are the three things I want to focus on. Like I said earlier, everybody is looking at only the output KPIs. We are not looking at the outcome KPIs or the input KPIs. So I think once we move the dashboards or the live data to the input KPI, for example, we are looking at NPS. My NPS for these stores is going down. But we are not looking at what is the time to service. If we start only checking what is the time to service, when somebody entered my store, what was the time to the first touch point, the NPS will automatically get corrected, right? So all these things, I think once we correct it, that is, and I personally feel as an individual, as a professional, that majority of us are overwhelmed with the kind of information that we are carrying in our pockets today.
Mr. Karthik, would you like to share the example how your team made the day-to-day decisions on making a real-time visibility, or where it tends to get bottleneck.
I mean, I agree with what Mayank says. I mean, sometimes there's too much of data, and a lot of people don't know what do we do with that data. How are you reading that data? It doesn't really lead to a lot of actionables. So I think in our organization, at least over the course of the last 6 months, what we have done is put down selective dashboards so that we know what is it that we want to get out of it. Now, we might be blindsided because of it, but we're willing to live with those consequences. But we are very clear that that too much of data, whether that's for decision makers or with teams down below, is quite a disastrous exercise, because then people are busy reading and analyzing data, and this industry is based on execution on the ground. So that time lag is something which is very, very critical. So we've actually reduced it. We've put down systems to reduce the distribution of some of this data, and we've also defined what is the data that we want out and what is it that we don't want out. I think that's very important for, I believe at least, that for brands to do is to define what is it that you don't want to focus on, because there are so many things to do. So we have created something called the 5-mile march. So that's what we look at day in, day out. So those 5 elements, top to bottom, everybody should be kind of singing the same song. Downsides to it, but we're willing to accept those downsides.
Lakhbir ji, so like what's your view, like what kind of the data real-time visibility gives the edge, or the retailers which don't have that one? So what are the disadvantages?
See, I have 2 things to say. One is what you asked about the real time. I think we are currently working on purely real time, be it distributor billing anything to any retailer, any customer buying at retail counter, be it his CRM, his customer life cycle management, everything is real time with us. So it is must, it is non-negotiable, absolutely, and we are seeing the benefit out of it. So if any blue denim slim fit 34 is getting sold at Ahmedabad store, it is automatically information is going to Daman for auto packing, auto DO delivery order on the very next day. So it is well in place. Just to answer what Mayank and Bhai said about this quantum of data, I think as a leader it is our responsibility to filter down that data, what data is going at what level. I strongly believe जितना नीचे लोअर स्केल का आपका एरिया मैनेजर, टीम लीडर, क्लस्टर मैनेजर है, उसको जितना सिंपल और छोटा डाटा जाए उतना बेटर है. लेट द एवरी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी ऑफ डाटा एट अ टॉप लेवल. So the pyramid has to be opposite. Basically, what most of the organization does, they follow this pyramid. The complex data, the quantum of data is going at a lower level. And ASM says, sir, इतना कुछ, इतनी mails आती हैं, इतनी auto MIS आती हैं, sir, वो miss हो गई. I think we need to, as a leader, we need to ensure that pyramid has to be opposite. So the complexity has to be on the top level, and it has to be simplified, crystal and clear to the downside, so that the actions are fast and quick. This is a purely my side of understanding.
We are running out of the time. Just I need 5 minutes. Because you say like one system or tool you wish had a better usability or ROI.
As I told you, I think the planning tool, which will actually help managing the inventory level at the chain level, that is stores and the warehouse.
So one back-end process you have successfully reinvented recently.
We've killed layers. We've killed layers in our structure. I think the less layered we are, we've realized that, going back to what Lakhbir was saying, it's an attempt to kill complexity at every part of the organization. So I think it should be seen as a process, according to me.
Mayank ji, one operational issue you wish would just solve itself.
Inventory. The right inventory at the right store, obviously at the right time. I think if we are able to correct that piece, 20-25% of the productivity for every store, every organization, every brand will come by default.
All right. We are open for Q&A discussion. Say like anybody need to ask the panelists. They are here only. Please ask your question to the panelists.
Thank you. Thank you for the discussion. It was a lovely discussion. I joined in a little late, but whatever I heard was very, very interesting. I just had one thing, which was basically tied to the theme of the talk here, which is around digital. Right? So all of you were talking about data. So you have. Okay. Am I audible now? Yeah. So I'm thinking you guys were talking about data. So I guess you have significant retail digital presence of your own. What I wanted to ask is, how does your phygital presence tie into the bigger phygital presence of the retail centers, malls, high street retails that you are in? And do you see any leverage of tying the two to get better visibility for your stores and for your brands?
You want me to answer? So, see, I think 5 years before, omni-commerce, or we call it endless aisle, whatever, it was a choice, or it was a extra addition or extra experience that we were giving to the customers. Today, it has come by default. If you are not omnipresent, if you are not having your inventory synced to the digital backend, then you are killed on day zero. That is one by sure. I would maybe take it to a little different side of the business. Earlier, people had nothing to do, after, for example, it was only 1 or 2 channels which used to come on the TV. There was no, Netflix, nothing. So everybody used to go out to the shopping. That was the only leisure activity. In fact, shopping, I feel, is the best leisure activity that everybody, because it touches all your senses. So, but today, when the world is becoming very, very transactional, all the things that you can buy as a transaction, whether it is a FMCG, whether it is a shoe, which you know what organization, what brand, what size I want to buy, you can transact and buy online. So ultimately, when a consumer is walking to a retail store, they are seeking some different experience. They are seeking some leisure. They are seeking to have a good time inside the store, not only the transaction. So if we correct, I think, that one piece of experience or delivering the right experience, it can come by technology, maybe find whether, correcting all the inventories across or unifying the entire commerce, or by delivering an exceptional service. I think the core is the experience that we ultimately deliver and what the customer is also seeking today.
Hi, I'm Ramiraj. I just want to know, everybody is talking about inventory and there is a problem. Nobody is talking about the back-end process, the buying process of inventory. There is a long lead time for 6 months or 7 months time to deliver the product out on the floor. So what exactly you guys are doing to reduce that so that mind to market can be implemented? Let's say 30 days, within 30 days. So that is the key factor to correct your fashionability and sellability and inventory. That's my opinion. But what exactly you guys are doing? If you can say something about that.
With us, with Killer, because as I said that we are a fast fashion brand. We are not a Clinic Plus or Dabur Chyawanprash. Our industry responds little in advance. We book 6 months before the actual garment is hitting the shelf. So in January, we book for Durga Puja. We book for Diwali season. We book for AW season, autumn, winter. Keeping that in mind, there are tools available called OMS, Order Management System. In that part, starting from your sales forecasting, your buying plan, your actual buying, your order validation, your order punching into the logic, your on time in full delivery percentage, because every state respond in a different pattern. Every state has its order expiry date attached to it. Durga Puja is the last date for Kolkata season, for example. In North, people talk about Diwali. So OMS is the solution. As a brand, what we do, we showcase our range 6 months in advance so that the fabric buying team gets a sufficient time for lead. The OMS team, the outsourced merchandising team gets a sufficient time for the procurement. So it's a tool available, and of course, then you align your future season orders along with your current inventory on shelf and marrying it with your projected sale. So there are tools available. In our industry, this is the way we are addressing, but even after that, when we are booking 6 months in advance, you will see some surprises, some new patterns coming in, some new fits coming in, some new colors coming in. Then you have to feed that requirement by flash range. That what we call internally a capsule range.